Hello, and welcome to the Doing the Most podcast. I am Shannon Fairweather, and I am your host. Today, I am so happy to be welcoming back the one and only creative entrepreneur and, of late, student of health, Daniel Linger. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very, very, very good to be here. Very lucky to be here.
Oh my gosh, fate.
Yeah, absolute fate. This podcast is fate. Yeah, so I had a flight to California this morning.
We said our goodbyes.
Yeah, we said goodbye. Everything was packed. Like, we were all good. And I got there at 8:30 for my 9:15 flight. I'm TSA pre-checked. I thought all would be good. I got to check my bag. They're like, no, you got to be like an hour before your flight. And I was like, what the?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
The stars aligned.
Yeah. So anyway, I came back here. I was like, all right, screw it. Put me on the 5 o'clock and I'll see you in a few hours.
I'll go do a podcast.
Let's go.
It's funny too, because I wanted to record one yesterday, but that was not happening.
Yeah.
Due to pure tequila reasons.
Yeah. Encore gets the best of people. Yeah. Encore birthday parties.
I'm happy we're making it happen. I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about today.
What are we going to be talking about today?
We are going to be talking about longevity.
Hell yeah.
And for those of you who are thinking, what do you mean by longevity? We are talking about how you can live really, really long and how science is kind of looking at things and projecting people our age to live up until they're at 120s, 130s. Mm-hmm. People who are 10 years old right now might live into their 140s. People who are 40 right now will live past 100. Like, this is projected. It's science.
Yeah, and imagine people who are very aware of living long. They'll probably be able to live longer than, 120, 130. I know, like, some people, I don't know if he'll do it, but Dave Asprey is trying to live till like 160. Mark Hyman's going for like 130. These guys that started when they were like in their 40s and 50s. So,
and we're starting now,
crossed.
So let's see. We'll probably be fucking 200 years old as long as we don't get hit by a truck or something.
Yeah. So now is always the time to start. Yeah, I know. I say that all the time. Like, I'm gonna be the most successful person ever, living for forever, doing all these things, as long as I don't get hit by a fucking truck. If I get hit by a truck and die, I'm going to be, oh my God, I'm going to be so heated.
My dad always jokes, he's like, Shannon, there's always those people, the health conscious people who, are doing this, that, and the other thing, and then next thing you know, they get hit by a fucking bus.
It's true. It's very true.
Oh, but as long as you're careful, your chances of living are pretty good. The one thing that can get you is health-related issues.
Yeah, I mean, it gets most of us.
Yeah, and it gets all of us at some point, one way or another. But something that you and I have been kind of just really into for at least a year now, probably a year and a half, is just different ways of preventing disease and maintaining really, really healthy bodies.
Yeah.
So where should we even start realistically?
I think just the core. I mean, it always boils down to, not always, most things in life boil down to mind, body, and soul some way when you're looking inward and all that type of stuff. So I think longevity really boils down to your body, how you're moving it, how you're feeding it, how you're hydrating it. Really just the body, but also your mind. Not really is the mind, body, soul. Body, mind, just so if you're meditating. I think there was a study it was Jay Shetty's book, the How to Think Like a Monk book. He was saying that there was a monk and his brain was, I think his age like 29, and he was like 42. And a lot of that was because he meditates a lot. So healthy mind, because think about all the mental diseases we deal with. I don't know if meditation is linked to lower Alzheimer's and things like that, but I'd be willing to bet they are.
Oh, and mental health issues are absolutely linked to real physical diseases. That's a fact for sure. So you kind of sum it down to mind, body, soul. Let's start with body, because I think that's the easiest one for people to kind of conceptualize. So let's start out with body. Let's talk food and let's talk exercise.
I want to talk something I've been doing recently, and then I want to go to food.
Okay, yeah.
Because food has been just like a lifelong struggle, straight up.
Yeah.
So something I've been doing recently, I was really, really on it in the winter because I was up at like 5 a.m. every day. But I just got back into, as soon as I wake up, within the first 15 minutes, I'm in the gym doing something to make me sweat.
Yes.
I'm doing the Stairmaster, I'm doing burpees, I'm doing those ball left and right ab crunch things. And it's changed the game. I put my sweatshirt on, I got some sweatpants, just hood up. Like I just make this little furnace for myself. And I go sweat my ass off. And there's all kinds of science to why this works. But I've been feeling so good. Like 20 minutes after bed, no coffee, no nothing. My brain is already working more. You've been doing that too?
I did it this morning. I've done it like 2 or 3 times in the past week, and those days have been significantly better than the days that I don't wake up and sweat. Yep. And I think sweating through movement first thing in the morning, it's a different kind of sweat than the sauna, which we will also talk about. But I think waking up and moving and getting the sweat going, it's like what the 5 a.m. club was talking about, the chemicals that releases in your brain.
Yep.
Because when we first wake up, we are in a state where we are much more likely to be, I believe it's anxious and kind of just on alert. So working out kind of calms those chemicals down into a more productive energy that then allows you to feel very clear-headed throughout the day.
Yep.
You're really easy to focus.
Yep. Yeah, so when you first wake up, your cortisol level, which is the stress hormone, it's basically the highest it's going to be the whole day, which is interesting because we think of like morning as the zen, relaxed, peaceful time. The day hasn't started, which is true, but you can really achieve that by just doing something to sweat. It releases BDNF, brain-derived nootropic factor, something like that, and it lowers all those stress levels. So if you go work out for 10, 20 minutes, anytime you sweat, you get that BDNF release. So that's going to just kill your cortisol level.
Right.
And then you're going to release dopamine, which is like the happiness and success hormone, or I don't know if it's a hormone, whatever it is. How do you not want to do that?
Exactly. And I think starting your day with that really just sets you up for success. I do every now and then like my middle of the day workout, but honestly, I think the best kind of days, you wake up, you sweat, you get some work done, and then maybe you get that second wind workout. And the energy I get from that second workout has been so impressive. And as we talk about working out specifically, something I learned recently was that 70% of accidental deaths over the age of 70. Is that correct?
I don't know the exact
I think it's 70% over
but I know
70.
It's the leading cause of death.
I think it's 70%. Leading cause of death in people over the age of 70 is falling, and it's because their muscles are depleting. And after the age of 40, it's shown that you lose 1% of your muscle every year.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's not something that just happens. It's something that can be prevented, and it's something that's been made to feel almost normal. And I think it's really cool to think of things that way because, all right, like if the goal is just not to die, and that's basically what this podcast is about, is like different ways to not die. If the major cause of accidental deaths in people over the age of 70 is muscle, why aren't we focusing more on muscle growth and muscle strength?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think as a collective society, we think of the older people as, you know, you got to take care of them. They're like shrunken over and all that, right? But I think what you mentioned before of like we're almost expected to think that is so crazy, right? There's 65 is the retirement age. It was like picked out. I forget the exact story. It's some ridiculous story of like, it was just like when somebody sometime like decided to stop working or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But it was an arbitrary number, and people's life expectancies were way shorter back then when that number was set. And it's like, oh, even though like we should be able to work well into Bob Proctor was born in 1930 something, and he's 87, putting out more content than anybody, right?
He is crushing YouTube.
Yeah. So if someone was born, even the 60s, like they should be able to work well into their hundreds, right? If Bob Proctor can do that, 87, so. You got to think like where's your subconscious kind of setting you. So it's all about a mindset shift of like we're gonna live longer, we're gonna be stronger longer. That's huge.
And with absolutely anything and achieving absolutely anything, it comes down to what you can conceptualize in terms of what you can accomplish, right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't believe you're gonna live long, you're like not going to, or if you don't believe you're gonna accomplish XYZ, you're not going to. It's like, to an extent, that's where the mind comes into things. But to go back to the body, just a little background, because I have done literally it all in terms of exercising. I was a dancer for 18 years of my life, and then I really got into spinning on bikes, and then I also did some yoga with that, and then I was an avid vital cycle person for like 2 weeks. I was spinning like 2 times a day sometimes.
Weren't you in a movie cycling?
Yes.
Like you were
Yes.
that good at cycling.
People knew me as someone who, it's called spin. They knew me as someone who did spin so much that when this movie came out, it's the Amy Schumer movie, people reached out to me and they're like, oh, they're looking for extras who like know how to spin or like spin a lot. And I got that sent to me like 3 times. So I applied for it and I'm in I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer. I'm in that movie. Like you can see me like 3 different times, but I was spinning twice a day, sometimes at least 5 or 6 times a week. And this is when I was incredibly anxious too. So I think that contributed. But that was such a waste of time when you think of it, because all I was doing was, other than some leg strength, I was just burning calories, burning calories. And I did that for a long time, and then I transferred over to Orange Theory a couple years ago, and that was more of a balanced workout, but in my opinion, not heavy lifting enough. You know, they do a really great job with the cardio and, you know, the diversity on the weight floor, but it just wasn't enough strength building. And then recently, like 6 months ago, maybe a little bit less, I really got into the 10X fitness, and essentially what that is you work as hard as you freaking can on certain exercises, and instead of working out maybe for an hour, you can get this done in like 20-30 minutes. And I've really been loving that, and I've been seeing a lot of like super great results from that, working out way less.
Yeah, how much are you working out? Because I've done the 10X and it's great. I have terrible consistency issues in the gym, and I don't eat enough that I feel like I don't build muscle that quick. But what kind of results are you seeing?
Oh, so I'm working out on a good week, you know, like when I'm not partying 5 out of the 7 days. I like to be in the gym 3 to 4 times a week.
Who does that?
3 to 4 times a week doing this 10X workout. And what's awesome about it is, and Ben Greenfield was talking about this, he is someone who used to run like these crazy marathons and partake in really like physically demanding competitions. And he was talking about now how he basically has 6 to 7 workouts. He's a big advocate for the 10X workout too.
Really?
And the consistency makes it easier for it to become part of your routine. And he compared it to this man who is, I think, in his 70s, and every morning he wakes up and he climbs up this sculpture of rocks that he built, and he carries a rock up, and like that's his like daily exercise, which is obviously intense. So I've been really liking the format of the 10X workout because it's given me that consistency. So the kind of workouts that I do, it's like really, honestly, not too complex. It's leg press, as heavy as you can go. Today, I did a leg press of 280.
Hey, all right, not bad.
Yeah, I was really proud of myself for that. But essentially what you want to find with the 10X workout is your 1 rep max, which I haven't found yet, and your 12 rep max. So 280, I think, is my 12 rep max right now. So that means like you're going up and down like 12 times. And essentially the goal is to be working out with weights that are so heavy that you can only do 12. That you can only do 12. And that's why you can only do 1 or 2 rounds, you know?
Yeah, you think about like the normal way of working out. Maybe it was normal for me, but I see, you know, casual people at the gym that working out, going around. My dad especially. My dad's like, he's the worst and the best with this. You know, he'll go hard on like some biceps, and then he's walking around, he's talking to like Tommy Stevenson over there about, you know, the Red Sox game or whatever. He's hanging out, right? And then he goes back, he gets that rush at the end. What I think is cool about the 10X is you just get that part that you're seeking. Like when you're working out normally, you're just seeking that like, oh, like let's go push, baby, like, right? And you're done with it, and it's just like you get all the euphoria. I feel like 10X condenses all that down and gives you a really easy system of like, all right, do this one, do this one, do this one. It doesn't leave room. Like when you're doing 10X and you're like, all right, I'm here for 15 minutes, you're like, you don't want to talk to anybody. Like you're not trying to break that focus. You kick your own ass. Yeah, exactly.
You literally kick your own ass.
Yeah.
And something that I used to do after the Orange Theory, after the spin, specifically during COVID, I would just run. I would run for sometimes over an hour. Sometimes I would run outside like 6 miles. One time I went out to eat and I had wine and pizza and I felt so guilty about it. I went outside. This was during COVID and I was also still very anxious. I went outside and ran 6 miles, like kind of drunk. Isn't that crazy?
After pizza.
Yeah. And I was like totally
Sounds like
still
a
kind of drunk.
Survivor challenge.
It was awful. It was awful. But my point is, cardio and focusing on long distance cardio and kind of more the endurance side, unless it's something that you really love. Some people like really enjoy going for a run and it clears their mind. Yeah. I 100% support that, like whatever, suits your fancy. Your boat, yeah, exactly. But in terms of what's effective, running for an hour is not effective. It's been proven that I think that if you jog for an hour, you can get the same results from sprinting and doing a high intensity interval training for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and to bring it back to longevity, if you're running that much, you're going to, of course, introduce stress on your knees, which, I mean, I see my grandparents, their knees are like the first thing I noticed started to kind of go. So exactly. You might love running and you might want to keep doing that, but you might not want to rely on that for...
Be aware of the impact it's having on your body.
Yeah, just like anything.
Yeah, like I was listening to something and they were talking about how marathons are just so unnatural. And they're so bad, like, for the body.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Like 26.2 miles.
Why do they say they're unnatural? Because I feel like we're nomadic.
Because the body is not meant to run that much, and it really just wears down the knees and the hips. Yeah. Like people get severely injured, like training for a marathon. Yeah. I've always wanted to run one.
I bet you could.
Oh, I so could.
But do you want to? Is it worth the cost?
I know, exactly. That's like what you have to think. That's what you have to think. And that's what to go back to the 10X workout, I do 10 minutes on the Stairmaster, and I do like 7 rounds of like really intense. It's like 40 seconds or so of like really intense on the stairs, and then I let myself recover for like 50 seconds, and I do it again, 50, 40, 50, 40, and that gets me sweating. That gets like really intense, and then I do like 20, 30 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit less, of the 10X exercises. And if anyone's listening to this, I'm not going to like step by step go through each one. If you're curious about what the exercise I'm talking about are, either just look up the 10X workout or DM me and I'll let you know. But I have found them so awesome. And of course, like, I mix it up every now and then too. But the basics of it is push exercise, pull exercise, down exercise in terms of a squat, and then like up in terms of using your legs. So you really focus on your arms and your legs and not your core at all. I used to do 20-minute core workouts. I would do these super intense core workouts, and I swear my stomach looks better now because you're using your abs when you're doing these arm exercises or when you're doing these really heavy squats. So the essence of it is really simple exercises with really heavy weights and pushing yourself to the limit.
Yep. I think that mindset could be taken into any kind of physical situation, because not everyone has access to a gym. You know, during COVID, there was no access to a gym. And I think like when you're traveling, it's really, really hard to go to the gym sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember when we were in New Zealand, and like I was just trying to move. Like I was driving, and I was like, yo, I just got to pull over and do some push-ups, right?
We would do like over 100 push-ups a day.
Yeah, and we would bang those out. And I would always push myself to the point where I was like, I cannot do another push-up. And there's a picture of us, like we're at some lake, and I swear my chest has never looked bigger.
Chiseled.
Like, absolutely chiseled.
Chiseled as fuck.
Yeah, and so even if you don't want to go look up the 10X, which 10X is great, I think you should, or even if you don't go to the gym, or whatever.
Yeah.
You can always just take that mindset of push yourself to the max, do simple exercises, keep good form, and just be consistent and do it every day.
Alone, just burpees would cover it. Burpees, push-ups, jump squats, pull-ups.
Yeah.
It can be done anywhere, is the point.
Yep. So I feel like that's a really good way to build strength. And then if you couple that with the morning workout to get the sweat, which by the way, this morning, I was like, maybe I should. I'm going on a plane trip. Like, I don't need to do that. I was like, it's kind of cold. I don't even know if I could sweat right now. This is literally what my body was telling me.
Yeah.
It's kind of cold.
The brain
I don't know if I could
always
sweat.
Not going to want to.
It's 74 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I've been sweating in freezing weather, right? So I put on my jacket and all that. I think within like 3.5 minutes, I started to feel like beads of sweat coming down, which I could probably go harder and get that in like a minute or two.
Yeah.
That's all it takes is like under 5 minutes. you can get that huge upgrade for your day. So
it's funny. I haven't tried wearing a hoodie yet. I love wearing
it makes
I know. I totally should because I go hard and I get really sweaty. So I would get super, super sweaty too.
That's kind of my goal. I just want to sweat out as much as I can.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to try that.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey's quote.
What is it?
Some people go to the gym and turn the AC on or turn the fans on because they don't want to sweat. I go to the gym with a winter hat on in the summer because I want to.
I go to the gym with a beanie on in July to sweat more.
Yeah. That was definitely not word for word, but that was the essence of the McConaughey quote. It's sweating is so key. And I want to talk about saunas, but like just really quickly because I feel like we'll get into it more at some point. This fact changed my life. I did not know this. Like, this should almost be like a TikTok. It's like, what's that one fact that I was today years old when I found out you have what's the number?
40.
You have a 40% less chance of dying from anything. You have a 40% less chance of dying from anything if you sauna like 2 to 3 times a week.
I think it was once a week.
I think it was 2 to 3.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was 2 to 3.
Regular sauna use.
Yeah, that's insane.
40%.
How don't we know? How isn't that public knowledge?
I don't know.
Why isn't there a billboard out there that says that or something?
That'd be great. That'd be a great ad for a sauna.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Some sauna company.
Yeah, that's just...
Okay. Start calling Sousa.
Get the sales team on the saunas.
But that's insane to me. And it just kind of goes to the cleansing through sweating and like the benefits it can have for you.
Yeah.
So one other stat I want to talk about too is Vision Lakiani. He's a big advocate of the 10X workout and he implements it into Mind Valley a lot. His dad is 70 and doubled his ability to push on the leg press twice as much. He was able to do 70 pounds and then 140 pounds, which is as much as Vision could have done just through doing the 10X workout, which I think was really cool. And something else I like that they kind of include in the 10X is they do a creative visualizing. So like before you do it, you see yourself doing it, and then like you're more likely to succeed. I've also really been focusing on the mind-body connection when like lifting really heavy or like and when I'm squatting, like really focusing on like what I'm using. That I think has made a big impact for me for sure.
What do you mean focusing on what you're using?
So just being mindful when doing my
like
exercises.
What muscles you're
yeah,
using?
Exactly.
Okay,
like what's kind of going on in my body.
I see.
And also breathing with my exercise, like, and then like exhale as I like push.
That's something that I didn't get right for a long time. It was like when I first started doing push-ups, I was like, I'm gonna go as fast as I can. I'm so tough, right?
Yeah, and then you can't fucking breathe.
Yeah, and then it turns into a cardio workout, which is great, but that's not the reason you're doing push-ups, right? You go get the same amount of cardio and just sprint for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
What the 10X cleared up for me was that if I'm doing a push-up on my way down, inhale for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then when I'm pushing up, like doing the thing that takes the most force, exhale for 2. So be.
Exactly.
You're going to get good form and you're going to know when you're not getting good form. That was huge.
It's funny too because I feel like a lot of the people who are super jacked at the gym, like they're the ones making the most noise, you know, because they work out so often that it almost has come naturally to them.
Yeah.
But I totally wasn't breathing with my workouts. And I have found that when I'm working, I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. This hurts. Like when I connect back with my breath and kind of how like the oxygen is making my body feel, it makes it less painful.
Totally.
Which is a cool way to think about it. So for sure, this 10X workout, what I've been doing, there's a lot of studies that just show it's the healthiest way to work out and also the most effective way to work out. And what's so awesome to me is you're in the gym less. You're in the gym. You need days of recovery. You don't need to work out every day. Like that was literally news to me like a year ago.
Yeah, and I can attest to your body shape changing drastically when you're doing it. I think our diet, which we'll talk about later, is impacting that too. But when you're in the gym and you're like, you always come back up, you're like, yo, I just fucking crushed a 10X workout. You're all jacked up on just like all your endorphins. You notice that like that you just have more muscle definition in the shoulders and like it happens pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely. And I love it because I have way more muscle definition now and I'm less like just skinny, which is kind of all I ever was.
You're less bony and lanky and
Got more curves to me now.
Yeah, totally.
So I think fitness, that's, I think, the most effective way to do it. So now let's go on to diet, because you and I went on a health diet transformation 8 months ago. really just changed everything. And you lost some tummy baby.
Yeah, I did. So first and foremost, disclaimer, I'm not a nutritionist. Shannon,
We
you're
are not
a nutritionist
doctors.
either. I'm not a doctor. All I can, and this is always what I say, is like, I'm a student of life the best I can be. So if I do something and I notice something's working well for me, to me, that's all the proof I need. But if you start doing something and you're getting bad results, just switch it up a little bit. Like figure it the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
That's always been my motto with things. But we made some radical changes in our diet, specifically starting this year.
Yeah.
And I've never noticed such a drastic increase of mental clarity, energy, all these things. Like when I lived at my lake house last year, I would eat
Over a year ago. That was like a year and a half.
Oh yeah, a year and a half ago. I would work all day on the computer, right? And then I'd be like, all right, I need some food. So a lot of times I might go to, let me get some trail mix in me. It's like, all right, cool. Have a trail mix snack, right? Go outside, go back to work. Because this is when I was just on my computer, 12 hours a day minimum, grind mode. And then dinner would come around, too tired to cook because I've been working my ass off all day. My brain is fried.
I don't think you had a cooked meal for like 2 years.
That kitchen was also tiny. The kitchen was like...
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't your fault.
2 square feet. It was ridiculous. But I would usually go to my brother. I'd be like, yo, like, what are you thinking for food? And there was a time, especially in the summer, where I thought this was like the wise choice. I was like, all right, I want to eat healthy. I want to get nutrients. Like, and I would work out too. I'd be in there. I was like, get some workouts. All right, I need some food. I haven't really had that much today. Well, I guess something that's going to fill me up. Like, yo, let's go to the Howling Wolf in Salem. Let's get a couple burritos.
You were having like 4 burritos a week.
I was getting 3 to 4 burritos a week, and they were huge, like massive burritos. And I
didn't even eat burritos before I met you.
Yeah.
You got me on burritos.
But I love burritos. I still do. I
Me too.
absolutely tear up a burrito. But I was under the impression like, yo, this is good. This is filling me up. And I would also probably have chips and guac with it. A shitload of carbs, like rice, beans, white flour tortilla, like probably a couple hundred carbs, and then some steak and a bunch of, there was good stuff, quality burritos. But
clean. We're eating
this was, yes. And then before that, I was like, okay, like if I'm going to get a lot of stuff done today, I got to fuel up, right? I was like, all right, I got to fuel up. So I go to my brother, I'd be like, yo, coffee, let's hit My Diner. There's a place in My Diner, or a place called My Diner in Melrose, I think. And I was like, all right, let's fuel up. I'd probably get like an hour or 2 of work done while, he's getting ready and whatnot. But crushing. Oh, yeah, I'm going to destroy today. And then I go out, I'm like, home fries, like a little toast. Oh, yeah, I got some eggs in there. Yo, let's get a pancake. I need extra energy today. I'm like, boom. And then I go back to my computer, and I would just like wall after wall after wall. And for a while, I never figured this out. I was like, yo, I feel like in the morning, I just got all this energy. And sometimes, like, oof, it just takes me like a couple hours to get going in the afternoon again. I always just thought like energy's dipping a little bit, and it's just getting a little later in the day. I never put 2 and 2 together that it's because I was having so many carbs and breaking my fast, and my food was all messed up, like insulin spikes, brain fog, all that type of stuff. And now everything's changed because we've recognized the ways to eat, where I just ate an hour ago and I'm doing a podcast. I have perfect mental clarities because I know exactly what I put into my body, and I'm not having like a ton of carbs. So,
and I haven't eaten anything today, and it's 2:30 because I ate a lot yesterday, and I'm fasting, and I feel so good. I love fasting. But before we get into fasting, you just talked about everything that you were eating. Describe like your diet kind of summed up now.
All right. Now, mainly what I'm trying to be more balanced recently, but the essence of it is high fat, lowish carb, low sugar, high protein.
Yes. And to be clear, we were going so hard with that diet. We only were eating grass-fed beef, organic vegetables, and basically no carbs. And we did that for a couple months, and we both got kind of too skinny.
Yeah.
But we've implemented carbs back in for sure. I have like a bread roll like three days a week. Like,
it's like addicting though, because like when you're so ridiculously clear-headed. I remember in Aspen, I was having a Caesar salad, and it was a fancy restaurant, so, you know, they gave like 4 huge fucking pieces of romaine and some croutons. And I had all the romaine, all the cheese. I was like, those 12 croutons, I don't need. I was like self-righteous with it. I was like, no. Those 8 carbs, not for me. Now I'm like, fuck it, give me the croutons,
I'll have
right?
a couple of croutons, exactly. Or like we do dessert more often, but I think overall, like what's our go-to, especially if we want to feel really good, right? Like that's what this podcast is all about, feeling really good, living long. I think high protein, low carb, low sugar, high fat is the way to be.
Yeah. And to give more practical examples,
Right.
like we say low carb, but you need carbs. Like you have to have carbs. The only exception, which even this I don't 100% buy, like the only thing you don't need is sugar, because if you never have sugar, your body will naturally create it. But do we want to necessarily sacrifice blueberries and avocados and all these really good natural things that have sugar? For me, no, give me that stuff. I had some blueberries an hour ago. They were great.
The blueberries are super good for your brain.
Yes, they are. Absolutely, they are. But what I had last night, I think, is here's like, if I'm trying to be as clean as possible, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my protein and fat is going to be like grass-fed steak, preferably a ribeye, or fish, a really good fish that I don't have any kind of food sensitivity to, so like tuna, which is a bit higher in the mercury count, but like cod, salmon, sea bass, right?
I think
Just
it's good to be
fish.
diverse with your fish.
I agree too. I don't like to eat the same one over and over again. But let's use a tuna steak, because tuna steak's bomb. Tuna steak with some carrots cooked in butter, salt, pepper, maybe a little MCT oil in there if we're feeling saucy, and then either like Brussels sprouts, another veggie, sweet potato, sometimes if we're feeling lazy, and a little indulgus. That's not a word, but if we want to indulge, cauliflower pizza.
Oh, and something else we love to do is our brain food salad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Arugula, blueberries, walnuts, avocado, olive oil. Super, super tasty.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't like vegetables, because I know so many people just don't like vegetables, once you smother them in grass-fed butter, put some salt and pepper on there, and kind of saute it all. Oh my God, they are so good.
A lot of times they're better than the meat.
I agree. We have gotten the carrots so good sometimes. I'm like, this is a dessert. This is so tasty.
Yeah, they're so sweet.
So sweet. And we don't even add sugar in there. It's like salt. Oh, little cinnamon in the carrots is key.
Cinnamon is key.
Super, super key.
Yeah, but look at that meal and look at the brain food salad too. They're all very high fat, very high protein, and good carbs. You're not getting processed. There's a difference between the carb you get from white bread and there's a difference you get from Brussels sprouts. Those carbs are completely different. Your body handles them differently. And those are really good, clean carbs. That's just good food, like real fucking food is what you're supposed to be eating. Not supposed to be eating processed garbage and fucking Chips Ahoy and potato chips all the time. Like we need
Coca-Cola,
real fucking food. Yes.
Juice.
Coca-Cola is disgusting. I'm going to call my mom and dad out right now. They're putting Coke in their fucking mixed drinks.
Yeah.
At like 7 o'clock at night. Shitload of sugar, a little bit of caffeine, and literally nothing good. If you're gonna have alcohol, like it's just the worst way to do it. Get anything but Coca-Cola.
Exactly. Oh, and something I want to talk about. One, me and Daniel, like I said, we're super strict on this like a year ago, and we felt amazing. And when we're feeling really good, I would say we like to eat like this at least 5 times a week.
Yeah.
At least 5 times a week now. That's kind of like our normal. When we go out to dinner, we always have our bread. We definitely get dessert a lot of times, but we don't really get mashed potatoes anymore.
No.
But it's like, so if you love mashed potatoes, like you can incorporate this in your diet.
Plus, a lot of the times we're gonna be like, hey, we're gonna get a dessert tonight.
Yeah.
It'll usually be planned. If we're going out to like Abe and Louie's, like, and it's a fun night out.
That damn butter cake from Del Frisco's.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm not passing up on that.
Yeah, we're gonna live, right?
Yes, exactly.
But we also fast usually the entire day.
Yes.
If I know I'm going to indulge, I'm going to be like, all right, 24-hour fast. I'm not going to touch anything. So at that point, your body's just so ripe for food. Right. You've had so much autophagy already. It does matter, but it kind of doesn't matter at the same time.
And I want to get into fasting, but I want to give an example. Something that I've been doing when I have to day drink or when I have a long night of drinking. For example, a Chris Stapleton concert, right, which has the pregame and the tailgate, and then you have the openers, and you have Chris Stapleton coming on, and you don't want to be too lit, and you don't want to be too hungry, but you also don't want to be tired because you have a lot going on, right? Or like the other night when we went to Encore, I did end up drinking too much, but I felt fantastic after what we ate. So, for example, the Chris Stapleton concert, we were so smart with what we were eating.
Oh my God, yeah.
We waited until I think 2 or 3, and then we ate avocado with chicken. So
And
that really
carrots.
and carrots. So that really filled us up and gave us some energy without making us tired. And we were literally good for the rest of the concert.
What do we get? Fat, protein, and just a little bit of carb, just a little bit of sugar from the carrot. Even
Exactly.
less sugar.
Oh right, we had the carrots with the dip. Exactly.
Because those are all your major
Right.
energy
Exactly.
sources that your body's pulling from.
And then the other night, we were going to the club at Encore, and we went out to dinner before with a decent amount of time beforehand. Got steak, Caesar salad, shrimp, Brussels sprouts, and some truffle butter on
some
the steaks.
tuna.
And some tuna, yes. Yeah, just pure energy right there. Pure energy. And I think that was such a smart way to do it. And I have found that, like, that's a day where you want a lot of energy, right? Some days, like, if you're hungover or whatever, you want to eat, you want to feel full, you just want to lay in bed. But most days you want to feel full of energy, super alive, super focused, super clear-headed. And I have found that a mixture of fasting with that really clean diet has been so beneficial.
Absolutely. I think that fasting is such an interesting thing because the
me
clean
too.
diet is, I mean, once you understand, hey, here's what's giving me energy, it's fat and it's protein, and then I shouldn't really be having like processed carbs. That's pretty much all there is to it, right?
Yeah.
Eat some real food, have some good protein, eggs. You know, if you're going to go plant-based, feel free to do that. We eat meat, so like eggs, fish, meat, chicken, beef, all that good stuff. Pair it with some good organic veggies. I like to do fruit after dinner a lot of times, especially because I don't really have dark chocolate anymore since I found out there's caffeine in it, and I have like,
Love it, though.
yeah, inflammation.
I've been sleeping really, really good with it too.
I
I think it's almost like
it's just I know too much sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I don't even. It's useful. Sometimes I'll have dark chocolate when I've had like a little bit of caffeine in
Yeah.
the morning, and if I start to feel like a little caffeine hungover, a couple bites works. But overall, that's kind of the diet you should be keeping. Like,
Oh, absolutely. With fasting. So now let's go into fasting. And if you ever want more resources on fasting, the best way I found to learn was through Fast This Way by Dave Asprey.
that book is crazy.
It's literally, my mom lost like 40 pounds from the lifestyle in the Fast This Way book.
My mom didn't believe. She literally didn't believe. I forget what the number was. Your mom told me the exact number. I think it was like 20 something pounds in 2 months or something.
Yes,
I forget what it was.
Quick. And she was doing the same exercise. So my mom works out like 4 or 5 times a week. She's a beast, but she was just kind of stuck at this weight. And she ate healthy, but she drank wine. She wasn't fasting. And a huge one was she was putting creamer in her coffee, like a Dunkin' Donuts creamer.
Yeah, it's not good.
So she woke up and immediately broke the fast without even kind of realizing. You think it's like, oh, this isn't really food. Like, it fills me up for a while. But you're getting that sugar that's like a processed creamer. It's really not good stuff. If you look at it, the ingredients are kind of gross.
It's weird stuff in there.
Weird stuff. And then it's like caramel delight. Like, what do you think's in there?
Yeah, exactly.
It tastes delicious, but it's fucking 9 a.m.
Yeah, and
7
that's-
a.m. even.
That's what I want to touch on is how difficult breakfast is, or how much difficulty people have with breakfast. I was talking to Will probably a month ago. Shout out Will. He was like, yo, I need my breakfast. He's like, yo, I am so grumpy with no breakfast. Like, I gotta have it. And I was like, really? Like, he's like, dude, I just can't even function without it. And I feel like I've always liked breakfast, but I've never been to that level where I'm like, yo, I need my breakfast. Maybe when I was a kid, I was like, Mom, Apple Jacks ASAP, right?
Make it happen.
Yeah, but I think a lot of us have kind of fallen trapped to that expectation thing of like, just like we expect to retire at 65 or live to however many years, right? We expect to have 3 meals a day, and breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah,
like,
something else I wanted
right?
to touch on is kind of the routine that we have been like forced to believe is like normal.
Yeah.
Nor like eating 3 meals a day, eating as much as we do. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
It's not. It's just
It's just not. It's just really not.
Breaking the fast. I feel like the original saying must have been like, breaking the fast is important so you don't starve to death. And someone was just like, breakfast. Like,
breakfast.
Ah, right?
It was Denny's, IHOP, like just capitalizing on this quote. We need them to believe it.
Marketing department had an absolute field day.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, so if you're in that cycle of I need to have breakfast, I would highly recommend just trying no breakfast rule. You might be a hangry, angry, hungry piece of shit for like a day or two.
Yeah.
Because like that's me when I stop caffeine, probably pretty similar. But there's ways that you can curb your fast without like, because I know the feeling of that gnawing hunger.
Yeah.
Every class in school, college, high school, I didn't eat enough food. And I was eating the wrong food.
Right.
It is impossible to have a conversation or like try to learn something when your body's just like, dude, I'm so hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Food. Like, you
Exactly.
can't focus on anything. I get it.
But you know what else I think it is too? The body can literally be addicted to sugar. So your
That's
brain,
classic.
if you're doing the same thing every day, and carbs break down into sugar, so this could be carbs as well. If you're waking up, you're putting a sugary creamer, like 21 grams of added sugar creamer into your coffee, and then having a bacon, egg, and cheese, a fat bagel, like your body is, one, used to that, so expect it, but can literally be addicted to sugar. And there's a course on Mind Valley. It's like 7 days to quit your addiction to sugar. And again, Vision Lakiani, he was like, I can't have a black coffee. I can't have a black coffee like without my creamer. And I forget who it was that was telling him the benefits of having black coffee and fasting. It might have been Dave Asprey, honestly. But he was like, just go off it for 7 days. And Vision, and I went through the same thing. I had creamer in my coffee up until like a year and a half ago, and or milk or whatever. And now I just drink it straight black, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And he says the first day it's really hard. The second day it's pretty hard. By like the third or fourth day, like you start to like it. You can start to like it. And once you're there, you never go back. You never go back. If you honestly, there's nothing I think has honestly changed my life. But then also like my mom's the biggest example that I know of. 30, 40 pounds down. I would contribute 100% to her reducing sugar in her diet.
Absolutely.
And specifically, but then also fasting. So specifically in the morning, like I think some sugar at night is obvious, like every day isn't the best thing either. But I think the morning's way more important, especially if that's where you want to be in your fasting window.
Yeah, that's the time to have sugar is at night.
Yeah.
That's why berries are technically better to have them after your dinner.
Yeah.
Right. But I think you raised a few interesting points there. And it's that like if you wake up, coffee, creamer, sugar, then have a bacon, egg, and cheese, you're going to be hungry in like 2 fucking hours. This is what I used to do.
Yeah.
I didn't have creamer and all that, but I'd have like an apple and I'd have like some peanut butter and stuff like that before I go to class. And like, it was like I just ate and I'm sitting in class and I'm hungry. It's like, how is this happening? And now what's been so useful, especially me working a lot and me not, there's times like in the morning, sometimes like, I didn't want to go to the bathroom. Like I'm just trying to get in it, right? You're working. It's like, I hate distractions like that sometimes. So if I'm working and I'm doing well and then I'm like hungry, it's such a buzzkill. Since we switched our diet, I don't really get hungry anymore. Like my stomach kind of gets hungry. It's more my head gets hungry.
My stomach like doesn't growl.
No, not really. Every now and then it does.
Yeah.
But it's more like, hey, I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry. It's less that like hunger is just up in your fucking grill, like letting you know that it's there.
Your brain's like freaking the fuck out. That doesn't really happen.
No, and part of me is like, ooh, good, I'm hungry. Like I'm gonna get this level of like it's gonna pass in like 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna be extra focused because the fast is gonna kind of kick in. So it's really been a game changer.
I kind of love when my stomach starts growling when it does, because once it does, I pass through that, the energy I get after that, because you kind of let your body know, like, no, you're okay. And, you know, this diet essentially is very similar to the ketosis, keto diet. And when you put your body in ketosis, that's where the magic happens, baby. Because you basically have 2 storehouses of energy in your body. You have the sugar and you have fats. And when your body's running on fats, one, you can go way, way longer with that energy. But 2, it also sculpts your body. It's cleaner energy. So I find that so interesting too. And I love the story of Eric Admides and his hike.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to tell it?
No, you can tell it.
So Eric Admides from Wild Fit, really, really smart guy. He did, was it Kilimanjaro?
It might have been. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it was a crazy, crazy hike. It was like a 3-day adventure hike, and he had done it a couple times, and he knew the guides. And he was kind of trying to hack it and just kind of see, like, how can I do this hike better? And he decided he was going to fast the day before into the entire hike. So this was like a couple day fast.
The guide only let him do this
Yeah.
because they were friends. And he's
Right.
like, if I found out anybody else was doing, like, they would make you eat food. Like, it's a really difficult hike. And Eric also had like a 20-pound camera around his neck, which was just extra crazy. But go ahead and finish the story.
Yeah. And essentially, it was his best hike ever. He was like hundreds of feet in front of the rest of the crowd. He was taking pictures of them and then like going back and forth. He said he had more energy than ever. And it was because he was fasting, and it was because his body was going into a state of ketosis, and it was running on fats instead of sugars.
Exactly. He just drank a lot of water. And he was able to burn everybody that had their big breakfast.
Right. So I find that so awesome. And for us, the biggest hack has been adding MCT oil into our black coffee.
I'm such an advocate of MCT oil.
Oh my gosh, me too.
It's one of my favorite things that has been introduced in my life this year.
It's crazy because, when you first start changing your diet so drastically, when, you are having this creamy cup of coffee with the 2 packets of sugar or whatever it is, and some breakfast, just cutting all of that out and going just to black coffee can be super difficult.
Yep.
But what this MCT oil is it's derived from coconuts. And you put it right in your coffee, you turn it up, and it makes the coffee really like silky smooth. I love what it does to the coffee, and it really helps you get over that first, like, oh, I'm so hungry hump of the day. I go till 1, 2, or 3, basically every day without eating.
Yeah, and you get up relatively early.
Yeah, and I'll get up at 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it's just straight fat.
Yeah.
You think even butter has, some other stuff in there. You got milk in there. It's a dairy product. MCT oil is it's straight coconut fat.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. I think it's C8.
C8
MCT oil.
Yeah.
We use the bulletproof stuff, which as far as my research goes, it's one of the higher quality ones out there. I'm sure there's other ones. Do your research. But that has been like such a nice little hack. Like sometimes I'll be hungry, and there are days when I need to work like heavy on my computer, and I don't want to eat because looking at my computer with a full stomach it just doesn't work for me. So to curb the hunger, sometimes I'll just swig a shot of MCT oil. It works wonders, and it's just...
We did that while skiing too.
We did it, yeah. We had the little packets.
Yeah. We are so funny. Like, we will literally wake up at 8, go skiing, and then around like 10 or 11 have some MCT, and then around like 1 or 2 have a tequila drink, and then around like 3 or 4 have like a Caesar salad.
Yeah.
And we feel phenomenal.
Yeah,
We feel so good, moving around a lot. And then that night, huge steak, bunch of veggies, probably some dessert, and we feel so good. It has changed the way we travel. Because I feel like, when was it? It might have been like our 2nd year anniversary on the Cape. I felt like just kind of tired towards the end. Compared to like our Disney trip or our Aspen trip, we had so much energy the entire time. It's such a hack. So let's kind of summarize here. Fitness in terms of getting the most effective workout, definitely high intensity interval training and heavy weightlifting. And then when it comes to diet, what would you say the summary is?
High fat, good fat, avoid bad oils, look up what a good and bad oil is, good amount of protein, whether it's animal or plant, just get some good protein. Minimize your sugar, minimize processed sugars. If you're gonna do ice cream, check out some keto-friendly ice cream. Rebel ice cream is a great one. There's I forget the other ones. Just look for like lower sugar, erythritol-based ice creams, and just cut out unnecessary sugar. And then lastly, cut out refined carbs. Like if you're having a granola bar, I love my granola bars. If you're having a granola bar every day, look at where the carbs are coming from. If they're super, super starchy, and the first ingredient is like white flour or something like that, cut it out. And if you're having bread every single day with dinner, like before I have my salad, I gotta have my bread. Like just cut it out and lower your overall carb count a little bit. understand that your energy is going to come from fat and protein too, and not necessarily from carb and sugar. It's a balance. Like you want it to be in favor of pulling from fat.
Exactly. And for me, this kind of diet has allowed me to have more energy, way more clear-headedness, work much longer. I can go a really long time without eating, and I don't count calories anymore. I used to be someone that was super, super, super calorie focused because I had an eating disorder and got really, really skinny. This was when I was spinning 2 times a day. So I'd wake up, I wouldn't eat. I think I'd probably have a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, maybe like a second one at noon, and then I would have, I think, 1 protein bar and this teeny little salad for dinner. It's like dope. Like I ate like under 1,000 calories today, and I was working out so much. So I burned like 800 calories and ate 1,000. Probably burned like another 1,000 just walking around.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know how you had the energy to do anything.
I was so anxious too. I feel like that definitely contributed. Because my body's probably like, what the hell is going on? We don't have half the nutrients we need right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where like taking care of your mind and soul goes a long way. But I kind of want to stick on the body for this talk because we really dove into the body. And I think one more thing that I've been jaded by for a while that I really want to dive into is sleep.
Okay, yeah. No, absolutely, because that contributes to the body.
You and I have drastically changed our sleep.
Yeah.
Because if you're working out a lot and you're not sleeping well, you're toast.
Oh, absolutely.
Sleep is like this miracle drug for longevity. If you don't get enough sleep,
absolutely,
there's the I'm gonna sleep when I'm dead type mindset, which is kind of what I was forced to do in high school and college sometimes. More in high school because I had to be up at like 5:30 in the morning, which is crazy. But it's ironic that if you're gonna follow that mindset, like you're just gonna die earlier. Like your body needs proper sleep.
For sure.
And there's ways to get a proper night of sleep in less time. But the majority of us are getting maybe 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep, especially if in like a corporate work style. And they're pretty bad hours of sleep. And we never really fully recover from that. And you're also pushing yourself in your work life. And it's just like one of those things where if you got sleep, you'd do better work and you wouldn't have to spend so much time like trying to push. And it's just like, it's like a caffeine cycle where like, oh, you need more caffeine, right? You're just in the same cycle of like, oh, I need more time, like in the office, like gotta get less sleep. It's just this terrible cycle.
So how are some of the ways you've hacked sleep, do you think?
Okay, I'm just gonna rattle off.
Yeah, we don't need to go into this one too long.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rattle off some really good sleep tips that I've implemented that I'm sleeping so much better. So first things first, blue light glasses. I love them. I have them for daytime when I'm looking at my screen, and I have one for nighttime, which is like red tinted. And
people will chirp you if you wear them, but I swear to God, they've helped so much.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna get chirped. I wouldn't recommend going out in public in them, but if you're looking at your phone, your tech, which as much as I try to deconnect, I live in the city. There's literally bright lights all around me all the time. My phone's there. It happens. Like I look at my phone, but I don't have to get all that blue light in my eye, which is making my body think it's daytime. So that just signals to my body like, hey, it's start creating some melatonin or tapping into that. And
because naturally our bodies were created in a time where if it was daytime, it was bright.
Yeah.
And if it was nighttime, the sun would set and it was dark. There weren't huge TVs and phones that we keep an inch away from our face at all times and all these city lights. So our body literally reacts to the amount of sunlight.
Yeah, and it thinks it should be up.
Or just light in general. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a huge hack. The next one that I've wanted one of these forever.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, I was like, man, I wish I had this. But for whatever reason, I never had it. And it's a sleep mask. They're so handy. Like, have you ever been in a hotel room? I've stayed in a lot of hotel rooms. Like 20, 30% have this issue. Even the nice ones. You'll be like laying in bed and there's a fire alarm or some kind of smoke detector that just like flashes this ridiculously bright light. And like, it's like lightning strikes in the room. And I remember trying to sleep in Maine one time. And I was like, what the fuck is going on in this room? Terrible night of sleep.
Yeah. And even my brother, who like I've given him the blue light glasses and I get him on a lot of this stuff, uses the sleep mask. The sleep mask I haven't slept a night without a sleep mask in like a year.
Yeah, me neither. When I forget it, I sleep terrible. It makes a huge difference. It just makes everything dark.
Yeah.
Easy. There's a great one on Amazon. It's called Alaska Bear. It's silk. It fits perfectly. I've tried a bunch of sleep masks. This one fits great. It's like $12 and you can adjust it. It's like, there's nothing crazy to it. It's just a normal ass sleep mask, but it works great. Highly recommend
blue light
it.
glasses, sleep mask.
We've been doing these mouth strips that I think are really useful. There's a brand we use called Somnifix. I don't really know. There's probably plenty other ones. I honestly don't even know if these guys are the best. It's basically just a piece of tape you put over your mouth, and it prevents you from like mouth breathing. It's like, the classic, right? That's so bad for you.
Breathing through your nose is so much better for you because it has the natural filtration system.
Yep, and it reduces snoring, and like you just wake up with, your voice will sound a little bit different. It'll sound better. Yeah. Like you're doing better things with your carbon dioxide. It's pretty cheap. If you don't want to buy those, you can literally get, it's not packing tape. Just go get like one of those Scotch tapes. And there's some that are like less harsh on.
I would definitely recommend the Somnifix ones because who wants like that tape? Who knows what's even on there? Like chemicals or whatever, like into your mouth. Yeah. Get the Somnifix ones. Yeah. That's definitely one of the more extreme things we do, but I love them now.
Yeah.
I love them now.
They are extreme, but they work great.
Right.
I pair that with, so I've got a sleep mask on. I've had my blue light glasses. I usually go blue light. I got my sleep mask on, strip the blue light, pull it down, right? Then my mouth is already taped, and then I'll lay down on the neck nest.
Dr. Martoni, we love you.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Martoni. He's got this great pillow. I hope it's available. Guy's been sold out forever.
I'm going to see him tomorrow.
Nice.
I'll see if I can get you another.
That would be great.
Case,
I could definitely use another one. If you can't find them, you could always just like try to sleep on your back, but like I sleep on my back and it's made a big difference, and the neck nest has really helped.
Sleeping on my back has made a huge difference. I used to have severe forward head syndrome because I was an insecure tall girl in middle school, and I was taller than all the boys, so I would always slouch and try to like make myself seem shorter. But now I love my height and I love having good posture, and I have been sleeping on this pillow for probably 2 years. And it has completely fixed my posture. I have way less back pain. I sleep really, really good. And sleeping on your back is definitely the healthiest way to sleep. That's been proven as well.
Yeah. There are times it used to take me like 2 hours to fall asleep. I can fall asleep in about 5 minutes.
If you want more information on the neck nest and kind of just sleeping on your back in general, definitely check out Dave Asprey's podcast with Dr. Martoni. Dr. Martoni crushes it.
Yeah, he does.
He really explains all the health benefits of sleeping on your back. All right, so blue light glasses. Sleep mask. Neck nest.
Mouth tape. And then my most recent one, which I'm so happy I got these.
I have some questions about this one.
Okay, cool. So I'm very sensitive to sound. And a few months ago, I was like, let me try earplugs. I got 6 different kinds of earplugs. I plugged them all in. I hated the way they felt. I never slept that well with them. Every now and then I have a good sleep, but like there's just too much going on there. So one day, I think I was at your Cape House, and it was loud in there, like people moving around, doors shutting, people snoring, right? So I had these noise canceling headphones, and I put them in, and I turned them on, and I slept great. Like all that extra noise, like if someone was like tapping, like you wouldn't be able to hear it. You'd barely be able to hear it. And I slept great. So I started doing that. I was like, screw it. I think we were out drinking at the Chris Stapleton concert. I was like, the night before, like people roaming around. We had a house of like 8 people. Slept great again. And I was like, maybe there's something to this. So for like 5 days, I just started doing that. And it's this wired headphone. But I was sleeping great. I was like, I need a better solution for this. So I originally got these things called Quiet On 3 earbuds. And they're from Finland, and they look great. I wanted them like in a couple days. And I bought them, and I was like, then a couple of days, where are they? And it was like a 4 or 6 week back order. So I haven't tried those yet, but those look dope. I got the Sleep Buds from Bose.
And so do you use them with the sound canceling on?
They don't have the option. They do like a little bit. It's not nearly as intense as...
Why do they charge?
Because they hold sound. It's basically a white noise machine.
Is there any Bluetooth or EMF in there?
There is with Bluetooth on. So you have to, everything's controlled on your phone. So you connect to your phone, then you turn on phone free mode and disconnects everything. You can shut your phone off. It'll still play. It basically just holds the sound that is playing, which I use this like warm white noise, and it just plays indefinitely. And it can play for like 30 hours or something. The reason there's a charger is that those have battery life. So yes, there is a little bit of mechanics.
And there's nothing wrong with having that kind of thing in your ears?
Not that I can tell. Well, something is definitely wrong is waking up 1 to 4 times a night because there's a fucking police siren that's
Right.
like 20 feet away from your bedroom.
For sure. But that's been like, when I sleep at my house, my dad watches TV below my room, so I literally always sleep with earplugs at my house. And I just use like kind of the squishy ones.
Yep.
Something weird. I don't love having like tech in my ears.
I hear you, but I just sleep so damn good.
Yeah.
Like I can get,
Yeah.
I fall asleep so quick. And I know for a fact that the quiet on 3s, they specifically list there's no phone involved. That's why I wanted these. There's no EMF at all, according to them, which is super, super cool. So that probably works different than what I have now. But to have, I mean, anything that's going on is going to be a little, if you're looking on it, it's mag, like the normal EMF, not the RF. There's no Bluetooth. That's the stuff that's more ranged.
Right.
But,
so I think that's, is that everything in terms of sleep tips? Because I have a transition. I want to talk about something else.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. So summarize those one more time.
Blue light glasses before you go to bed, sleep mask, neck nest, do something to try to help you lay on your back if you can. Somnifix, mouth strip, they're great. And then something to help out with noise, especially if you have other people around you, if you live in the city, try it out.
And I have loved making the room really cold before we go to sleep too.
Yeah.
That's been a great addition.
Yeah.
Especially if you sleep hot like me.
Yeah, you get toasty.
So something I want to talk about, because we're talking about longevity here, and I think we're going to have to probably break this episode into 2 or 3 of them.
Probably.
So let's stick on the body for right now, but I want to talk EMFs, because I think so little people know about EMFs, and you introduced EMFs to me, like kind of just the concepts in general. So when it comes to longevity, this is kind of talking about your mind in a sense, but it really impacts your brain.
Yeah, so let's stick on sleep actually, because this is something that I used to do. Is I used to be on my phone at bedtime in bed, and when I was done, I would put the phone under my pillow.
Oh my gosh!
And then I go to sleep.
I heard a stat. It's like 60% of kids under the age of 18 sleep with their phone under their pillow. That terrifies me.
Yeah. So if you do that, the amount of RF and EMF you're getting to your brain is way higher than you want it, because your phone's still putting out signals, connecting to 4 or 5G over and over and over again. You don't want that. It's going to interrupt your sleep. Same thing with Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi is on, your router's on right next to you, it's going to send signals to your body that like literally move your muscles, and that's going to wake you up. It's going to interrupt with your sleep. It's just a known fact. So if you're going to do that, first, just put your phone in a different fucking room. But if you're going to do that, turn it on airplane mode and make sure you have no tech around you when you're trying to sleep.
Right.
Because that stuff, like there's not enough science on EMF. And
it's relatively new, obviously.
It's quite new.
We've never had
RF specifically.
Yeah, we've never had the
frequency.
kind of technology that is a smartphone.
Exactly. So there's all kinds of things that you could do to help protect, like Faraday boxes over your router, over your smart meter in your home. Most homes have smart meters, those emit a little EMF.
Shungite stickers.
Yeah, it's a little woo-woo, but shungite is apparently a way to help reverse, I think, the circle of like EMF is counterclockwise and shungite is like counterclockwise or something like that. So I have one of those on my phone and my laptop.
I have one on my phone and my laptop, yeah.
I had one on my smart meter at my old house.
I think you've painted the router.
Yeah. The shungite paint on there.
And we unplug our Wi-Fi before going to sleep.
That's the biggest one.
So talk a little bit about the effects of RF when sleeping, because I know it's connected to your body's ability to recover, correct?
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of really, really good EMF research being done. There's some guys that have really dove into this. But my understanding of it is EMF will interrupt your natural body's patterns. If you're asleep and there's a router pumping out however much RF, I have a meter in it. It's got all the readings on there. I remember at my old house, it was like where I was sleeping was like 13, whatever the unit was. I was like, damn, that's a shitload. We unplugged the Wi-Fi. It went down to like 0.00 or something. And I think the safe level was to be around 1, and I was sleeping in 13. And I also used to have the router next to my place in my very old place at Riley's. And I was like, how the hell did I ever sleep? I didn't sleep well. And it just goes to show, like, when you have these new inventions the human body, right? Again, give yourself a pat on the back, because like we're the only generation that's had to deal with all this tech stuff and all of its side effects. So if you're in an environment that is very unnatural, which think about ancestors, right? Sleeping in tents or caves or wherever, pitch black. No one's on their phone watching TikTok, right? There's none of those EMFs. There's nothing that's like, it literally can tense up your muscles. Like there's a lot of weird things that EMF can do to your body.
Are there any studies on like the long-term effects?
I haven't been around that long, but I mean, a lot of people are suggesting that it causes cancer and like it causes your cell walls to break down. Like it's nasty stuff. It's really bad for you.
And it's real.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely real.
Yeah. I mean, you can measure it.
So the biggest thing when it comes to EMFs, RFs is, I think, awareness. Just being aware of the kind of environment you might be in, have that be due to a cell phone, a router, a cell tower. Just be aware of where you're spending the majority of your time, and really with your bed specifically. I think if you want to just start up with something.
That's a good note, is that you can be exposed to all the EMF in the world. Maybe not all of it, but you can be under heavy EMF duress. The biggest thing is if you don't ever recover from that, that's when you start to run into issues.
Right.
When you sleep is when you recover. So if you're in the city, I mean, I live in the city. I'm around it as probably more than most people. I go to when I go to somewhere else, like in Vermont, I notice that it's like it's not there. And if you don't get the proper recovery, then all the stuff that you're facing during the day on the phone, the computer, all the Wi-Fi, your body's not going to be able to undergo the reset that it's supposed to. When you strip it away from EMF, your body literally does this reset that I don't know all the science of it. I don't even want to speak on it because I'm not that well versed. Yeah, but it makes a profound impact on the way your body recovers.
And just to talk on sleep, I was listening to a talk and they were talking about how sleep, if it wasn't necessary, we would have, through evolution, got rid of sleeping. Facts. So it is so key to our overall health. And I think one way is just the restoration that occurs specifically with RF, but then also just giving your body a chance to reset.
Amen.
Yes. So I know that this stuff can kind of sound scary. I know when I first started learning about it, I felt like a little spooked.
Oh yeah, there's black holes on the internet.
I would try to keep
just
it
real
know that,
with yourself.
You're in control. I think a great start is not sleeping with your phone near you, turning it on airplane mode, unplugging the router if you can, and just being aware. Aware.
Those two things right there will change your sleep.
Exactly. So this is episode 1 of longevity. I think it will probably be some sort of a series for us. Let's talk about one more thing. Let's see. I have a list here. Ooh.
You're not going to make me miss my flight, are you?
It's 3.
Yeah.
What time's your flight? 5?
I got to eat dinner too.
Can we talk about one more thing?
What is it? Don't worry about that.
Genetics versus habits.
That's such a different subject.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I do.
Such a good one.
That's like out of the mindset stuff. Habits is mind.
I see. You want to end it?
The only other thing I'd want to talk about is NMN real quick.
Okay, we can do that. And I just want to note that we're at like 69 minutes. I'll let Daniel know that's a good place to cut it. And then
to ask me about any supplements or anything like that.
Right. Okay, cool. So we've talked exercise, we've talked diet, we've now talked sleep and kind of EMFs. When it comes to supplementing things that could increase longevity, do you have any recommendations?
I actually do. I've just started experimenting with them. I'm only 26, so it's very hard for me to say any anecdotal evidence, but there's been some really cool research coming out of Harvard, specifically talking about NMN and resveratrol. Resveratrol is the stuff in red wine, and I think dark chocolate too. And for a while, health practitioners would say 1 to 2 glasses of red wine will help you live longer, which might be true, but that was only because of the resveratrol. So that was, not necessarily misinformation, but that alcohol, you don't need the alcohol to get resveratrol. You can buy supplements for or
the sugar.
Yeah, like $10. You can get like a nice bottle of resveratrol. I use Tonic with a Q. They were the highest quality I've been able to find to date. I'll probably find a different one at some point, but that's some pretty good stuff. I would pair that. This one's like, resveratrol is like, as a no-brainer, right? It's like, it's in red wines and dark chocolate. Like, it's a no-brainer. It's just something you should be taking. It's a good dietary supplement for longevity. There's one that I'm taking that is a little funky, that I don't see any negative side effects to it, and I've seen a lot of evidence that says it will help, is NMN. So I take like this lipid blend of it. If you take the powder, take it with fat. But what it is it helps produce NAD in your body, and I think the age is 25. But when we turn 25, such a vicious burp there.
It's all right, continue.
So yeah, there's something in your body called NAD, and once you turn 25, that level starts to decrease like every year. So that controls a lot of your vitality and your energy, and it's not like mitochondria, but it's similar to mitochondria where it gives you energy. So by taking NMN, in theory, and in study, mainly through rats, since their life cycle is so much quicker than a human, we've seen very much healthier rats. You've seen NAD levels in the human body slowing their decrease. So that's something that is a little out of the box. There's not a crazy amount of evidence on it. If you want to learn more about that, I'll check out Dr. David Sinclair. He's got a great podcast on Joe Rogan. Lex Friedman, I think he's on a few other ones, talking about his morning, and he'll take resveratrol, NMN, and I think he takes a couple other ones. I've been taking quercetin per his recommendation.
Every day?
Yeah, it helps reduce inflammation. So I ran out of it. I got to get more, but resveratrol paired with quercetin, over 500 milligrams of resveratrol, and I forget the number for quercetin. If you take those, it can really help with inflammation. So it just helps your body be less inflamed, which, as we know, is the cause for a lot of disease. And
can kind of help us summarize this entire podcast. Learning that inflammation was the cause of all major chronic diseases for the most part, Alzheimer's, cancer, dementia, all the things that really kill us in our older age, those really intense, scary sicknesses, are caused from inflammation. Caused from inflammation. Like, that fact alone is huge in what reduces inflammation.
Those two supplements and fasting and a high-fat, low-sugar diet. Yeah.
So overall, longevity kind of comes down to not being inflamed.
Yeah, and sleep does too. Sleep helps your body recover, right?
Exactly.
So all those things we talked about all basically reduce inflammation.
Right, which therefore helps you live a much longer life. In addition to the mind and soul part of things, but we'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, that's a whole different beast.
Yeah, for sure. So you want to give a little summary?
Yes. Longevity from the body, summed down to a few main headers. First and foremost, you got to move. You got to use your body. I recommend sweating every day. Ideally, as soon as you wake up. A lot of good factors: BDNF release, dopamine release. It's kind of a no-brainer. It can be a little hard, but it can be as short as like 5 minutes. Just go do it. Some kind of regular exercise to build muscle and strength. Really, really important for longevity. The people over 70, the number one cause of accidental death is falling, which is insane to me. So take care of your body, make sure you're strong. What was our second point? Oh, food, nutrition. Eat the right fucking food, eat real fucking food.
Yeah.
Don't eat processed shit.
Yeah.
Don't eat Chips Ahoy every day and just flood your body with artificial sugar and carb. Those are the worst two things. If you're gonna have sugar and carb, try to make them natural. Like carbs from blueberries and sugar from blueberries, completely different from the carbs and sugar you're gonna get in a Krispy Kreme donut. It's completely different. Completely different.
Yep.
Get the good ones.
Yes.
And then most of your energy should be coming from fat and protein, not carbs and sugar.
Exactly.
Next, sleep.
Yep.
Get your sleep right. Look at those tips I gave. They're easy. Like, you could get all that stuff for probably less than $100, and all of a sudden you're that much more effective during your day. Like, if it really helps you, how when I sleep, like, to get a really bad night of sleep, I would say even like, I was gonna say 6 hours, but sometimes I get 6 hours, I feel great.
A good night of sleep is life-changing.
Yeah, and if I get a bad night of sleep and I don't get enough, it's like that whole day it's not gone, but it's changed drastically. And if you have a good night of sleep, you can perform better, you can make more money, you can be happier, and you can live longer. So fix your sleep, unplug your Wi-Fi, kill your blue light, and then if you want to try around with some other random gadgets that I just like to do that, like biohacking, that kind of stuff, look into those. And if you really want to be like a little edgy, buy some supplements. There's a lot of good supplements. Like we could do a whole talk on supplements. Vitamin D is another one that, you know, that's not necessarily longevity, but it's like a hormone you need to regulate. So vitamin D, resveratrol is an easy one. I take quercetin. It helps. It's like a histamine, and it really helps with inflammation. And if you want to be really edgy and you want to just mess around with some stuff, NMN is a really cool supplement. And there's tons of other really, really cool supplements that you could Google. You know, fish oil, really good for brain health. Like all kinds of good things like that that you can start investing in and invest in your longevity because, you know, no matter how much money it costs to eat well or an extra $1 for the organic avocados or whatever, that might add up. But dying will cost you more. You can't make any money if you're dead, unless you have a business. Even then, it's your business is making money. It's not you. So living long is an investment that I'm very prepared to take. And I think you should ask yourself if you're prepared to take if you listen to this.
Absolutely. And then just being aware of EMF as well. But those things all together, I think implementing all that has made me feel really better than the day-to-day too. So it's the investment of living long, but then also feeling the best you can in the present moment.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing
Thanks for
your
having
knowledge.
Me. This is a good one.
Yeah, this was a really good one. I'm really excited to like cut it up and stuff too. So thank you so much. And we'll definitely go into, I thought we were going to be able to tackle mind, body, soul today in terms of longevity, but we won't. We'll tackle those next two at some point. So
yeah, definitely. Lots of good stuff on the body. I think we got the majority of it. I'm sure there will be others that pop up.
Yes.
Like as I talk now, I realize we forgot to talk massages, but
there's so much.
It never ends. Like you're never going to get all the knowledge from an hour and 20-minute podcast.
Yes.
But I just encourage you, if you listen to this, try something. You don't have to. I know we dropped a lot on you.
Yes.
Just try something that
whichever
your gut will know.
Whichever one's resonated with you the most, because like saunas and massages are also.
Yeah.
Oh, we did talk saunas a bit, but those two additions have led to me feeling so much better as well. But there's always more to come. And if you have any questions for us, do not hesitate to reach out. We have a lot of great resources that we turn to buy products from and also just learn. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Much, much love.
Much love.
Good night.
Good night.